Hi, welcome to Route 66, day number 93. This is Greg Burdine sharing with you just some summaries of what you're going to be reading, just to kind of help you out a little bit, and then just some practical lessons that we can learn. We got 3 chapters today, so go ahead and grab your Bible and open it up, and let's see what we have. We're in 1 Samuel chapter 24, 25, and 26. 1 Samuel chapter 24, David is going to be saved in a cave. He's hiding in a cave, and Saul comes into the cave, unaware that David is there. David has the opportunity to kill him, but instead he just cuts a little bit off the corner of his robe. After Saul went out of the cave, he lets him know how close it was, and Saul is moved and acknowledges that David is going to be the king, but that's as far as it went. And so they split their ways. David took off, and in chapter 25, he's got a group of men that have been following him, and we find out that he's been protecting this flock, and he goes to the owner, Nabal, and he wants him to kind of pay him or take care of him and give him some food, and Nabal was pretty nasty to the servants that David had sent. So David says, I'm going to kill him. And fortunately for Nabal, his wife, Abigail, saw that and realized how foolish her husband was. And so she went to David and calmed it down, and everything was okay. And eventually, Nabal ended up dying. And David was so impressed with the woman that he married her. So who knows? So Abigail became his wife, his second wife. It's not gonna. They did things different back in those days, didn't they? And so we find out that that's what happened. And then in 26, David is again spared. David pursues him again, and David actually sneaks in the camp and takes some of Saul's stuff and comes out and hollers at him and says, hey, why didn't your army protect you? I was right there. I could have killed you, but I didn't. He was trying to show Saul that he had nothing to worry about. You don't have to be jealous. I don't want to take over your job. David is going to be the king, but he was willing to take his time. He showed what he was about and what his heart was. Saul recognized it, but Saul still did not have a change of heart. Now, here's some lessons that we can learn. It's important for us to wait for God's timing. You know, God was teaching David some things, and he might, and actually some of his people said, hey, maybe this is God bringing your enemy to you so that you can kill him. And David said, I will not kill the person that God has placed in the position of my authority. So David was willing to wait. And I think it's important for us to trust God's timing until the timing is right. Another good lesson is God often uses wise and humble people to keep us from making foolish decisions. God used Abigail to keep David from making a foolish decision. And God puts people in our life to give us some good, godly wisdom. Sometimes they're our friends. Sometimes they're strangers. We just never know. But always listen. Maybe God will be using somebody to give you some instruction to keep you from doing something really stupid. And then the last lesson I was thinking about is God often repeats situations for us to go through so that we can be reminded. You know, God teaches us and then he tests us. He teaches us and then he tests us. You see what all happened with David? Several times things happen over and over and over again, and God saved him. He was trapped, and Saul almost killed him, and it didn't happen. God will put us through some tests and pull us out of those tests so that we can have confidence that the next time we get into a situation like that, God's going to get us out of it. So don't worry if sometimes God repeats the trials that we go through. He's wanting to teach us to always trust in him.